Okay, so this is going to be my little video about box braiding. Now, if you look on YouTube, you're going to find different videos of box braiding, but nothing with short hair and nothing doing cornrow style box braiding. Now, the reason for this is that it's not considered really braiding. Basically, it's just boxing up your hair and then feeding the hair as basically I'm just gonna do like basic technique at the first beginning, you know, and piece up my hair, box it out, show you guys like there's different ways that you can do it. You can be creative with it. It's not the same as cornrow braids, because I guess that gives you a little bit more flexibility on design as opposed to box row braiding, because everything's in boxes, right? But if you change the shape of your line, it will change the shape of your box braids. So you can always get creative, you know, because some people, they do, you know, cornrows all the way back, and you can also do the same thing. When you box row braid, it'll give the same effect. So I'm not going to go through it in detail, but I will be showing pictures at the end for different styles that I've given myself. I do it mostly to go out. It's a great way to remove your hair. Like if you've got bangs like I do, I'm pretty sure like if anybody who knows how to braid could braid it back, but you wouldn't be able to get, you know, I personally don't know how to do corn braids on myself, so this is my attempt at it, and I'm talking way too much. But anyways, the story back to corn braiding, box row braiding. Basically, it's for people with short hair, or if you don't know how to braid. So it's one or the other. So let's start doing this, and I can shut up. Okay, so I've wet my hair a little bit. Now, personally, I always prefer to do it on wet hair. Let's say like you're coming out of the shower, you've just freshly washed your hair, and now you're gonna style it. So I always prefer it that it's on clean, wet hair. And so right now, basically I'm just lining it out. Like I said, you can do it as, you can make it as thick as you want, as thin as you want. Obviously, if you make it thinner, you know, then it's a little bit, takes a little longer. And just wider, it just needs more hair, you know. So like I said, you want to try and make your lines as clean as possible, and depending on also your hairline, you're gonna want to, you know, I know you can't always divide. Me, I always start from the bottom, simply because it's a lot easier to work your way down, bringing the hair down, than going the opposite way and having hair in the way. And I think that's mostly when you're braiding, even when you're cornrow braiding, that's something that's pretty universal. Now, I'm not going to do too far back, but you can go as far back as you want. So depending, like if you have somebody else doing it for you, you can go pretty far back. You can do all your head, and then continue down with the braiding. You know, you can, there's so many options. So when I say get creative, you can really get creative. So this is just so that my hair doesn't fall at all. I wouldn't think it would because it's wet. Now, this is where you're going to go and divide your boxes. Now, once again, you're going to keep in mind your hairline. Now, my hairline tends to, I mean, I have sideburns or whatever you want to call it. So, my first box will tend to be a little bit bigger. And basically, that's what it is. You divide, you make a box. They call it box row braiding because it becomes a square. So yeah, so now that and you see how well defined that is, like you see the lines. So you will need small elastics, which I have, and you can find that at the dollar store. Really not expensive, and you get a whole bunch of them. And here we go. So like I said, it's extremely simple. It's basically tying your hair. It's like making a little ponytail. You want to try and get it as tightly as possible. So you put your elastic and then you do one of these, and then you got your first. So this is the box. This is what would be considered you know, the box part of the box row braiding. And now keep in mind, you want to have the same thing. So you know, your second box, you want to try and make the the square as soon as sorry, I'm French, the line as clean as possible. And then it's the same concept, but this time you're gonna grab your first little ponytail and connect it to the second one. Now usually, in order for me to get something tight, I twist the hair a bit together, so that way there's no loose hairs or anything like that. Also, if you're familiar with beeswax, or you can use gel, but the problem is with gel or hairspray or anything like that, any of the products, I find that it flakes up. So if you do end up keeping them, because you can keep this for as long as you can, like depending how often you wash your hair, what type of elastics you got, because sometimes the elastics will break. But yeah, if you've got beeswax, I find that depending on your hair type, it helps hold the hair together. Makes it much more easier as well on your fingers if you're not familiar with, you know, doing this. It helps keep the hairs together. So basically, it's like I said, it's the same concept. And then pull back, and there you go. And then it starts connecting. Now you see the design with the boxes. So, and then you would just continue going back like that. And it's extremely simple. And it still looks like braiding. Like, a lot of people come up to me when I do this, and they're like, oh, where did you get your hair braided? And I'm like, well, if you take a good look at it, I'm like, technically it's not braided. And see, they don't realize that until they actually take a good look. Now